episode number 9. Okay. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's DVD review. This is episode number 9, and in this episode we're reviewing John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars. Boy, was this a creepy movie to watch. Yeah, I mean, most of the characters in the movie were so freaking stupid. The only characters I found interesting was Natasha Howard's character, which is this one right here, and Ice Cube. They were the only interesting characters in the whole movie. Oh yeah, and this is a result of some freaking spirits that go out and they possess these miners, and they turn them into things like this, where they're unstoppable killing machines. And apparently, anybody who wasn't turned to these things, they take off their heads and put them on pikes. I'm like, okay. And of course, most of this movie is told in flashback. Of course, the movie begins with a train pulling. This takes place on Mars in the future. It takes place in the year 2025. That's like what? 11 years in the future? Excuse me. And this came out in 2001. Oh yeah, this was also John Carpenter's last movie he directed for at least a decade. He produced movies afterward at this, but he never directed anything. Basically, the movie begins and of course this character is basically this character right here. Her name is Melanie Ballard. She's a lieutenant. She's basically handcuffed, and she's basically They basically examine her. She's fine, and they brought for debriefing. She's got like a slash on her neck. Though she does explain how she gets that later on in the movie. But some of the oh yes, Jason Statham's in this movie as well. This character's kind of interesting, but most of the characters are not. And of course, their boss, the commander, it's implied that she's bisexual. Of how she's rubbing the lieutenant's arm. I'm like, okay. And she's played by the woman who later played Amanda Waller on Smallville. I'm not kidding. She's in here years before she starts on freaking Smallville. And of course, they get there and the place is completely deserted. They don't know what's going on until they get into like another room where they find a whole bunch of there's blood over the place. I mean, God, this movie's creepy. I mean, half the time, this movie was not scary. It was like freaking creepy. This movie was. This anything was campy. I've heard the reviews. Basically, people call it very campy. How some of the things were scary. It just freaking creepy. I'm like, goodness, oh my goodness. I mean, it's like, heck, they even have a row of heads on pikes, including the commander, and apparently was put there by the leader of this group of people. And he's wearing this freaking armor. And he's got like stuff put into his face. Okay? Yeah. And here's the thing. They kill pretty much the rest of them by having a reactor meltdown that pretty much kills all these things. Well, of course, the things survive. Of course, Ice Cube's character. And of course, this lieutenant, who were the only two to survive to go to this place. Yeah. Of course, he'll probably get blamed because he gets blamed for every single murder that happens on Mars. And the only reason why he runs away because even though it's a massacre, they probably blame him for it because they blame him for pretty much everything. I don't know why. I mean, come on, can he be that freaking stupid? I mean, the people who run Mars are complete idiots, and apparently they try to make peace with the cartels. I don't know why. I mean, if I were these people, I would evacuate Mars right now. Or at least, better yet, take these freaking spirits and dump them on Venus. I don't really care. Well, there's a doctor who unleashed these people were killed. Yeah. And of course, Jason Statham's character basically, the only thing he wants to do the whole movie is seduce Ballard. He does make out with her for like, what, 2 minutes? And that's it. He lowers her to a storage just so he can seduce her. Okay. Fine. The story of this movie is basically kind of interesting to watch. The story's okay for a horror movie. A sci-fi movie. Yeah, the story's okay, but the villains are so freaking creepy. I mean, look at them, I'm like, okay, I'm not scared of these people. I'm not scared that much. I'm kind of scared. I look at you, especially when they decapitate you. I'm like, good God. I mean, this movie probably had more, almost as much blood as watching Hellraiser. Okay, not much to be said for this movie. Of course, there's flashbacks within flashbacks, goes back and forth throughout most of the movie. Of course, they do escape. Of course, people who were actually Ballard's bosses basically don't believe her. She actually gets that from she gets that from Williams, and apparently he likes her. Okay, and apparently the spirits actually get to the city. I'm like, okay, and of course the movie ends right there. I mean, one thing I would wish they do is to have a movie that picks up wherever this. For this movie, if they want to do a sequel to this, I recommend direct-DVD. You can have John Carpenter direct it, but just follow up, wrap up the freaking story. Don't ever do this movie again. I give this movie a 4 out of 5. The story is okay. I like maybe 3 people in this entire movie. The rest of the characters are so freaking stupid. I don't even like the villains that much. I mean, they're so creepy. So I give John Carpenter's Ghost of Mars a 4 out of 10. That's the best I can do. 4 out of 10. If you want to make it better because John Carpenter, I'll give it a 5 out of 10 for being an average movie. Oh yeah, this was a flop at the box office. This movie was. Was it wasting my money? Not really, no. I actually bought this movie for like, $3. Which cheap big lots. Stay tuned for episode 10, where you